Parents breathing a sigh of relief after the state this morning decided to reverse course on one part of its stay-at-home order. As we await the distribution of a COVID vaccine here in the U.S., how pharmacies in San Diego are going to tackle administering that vaccine to customers, and how local groups are coming together today to help military families in need. ABC 10 News at 11 starts now.
ABC 10 News at 11 starts now.
We start with some welcome news for kids and parents. Thanks for joining us, you guys. I'm Virginia Cha. The governor's office changing course, now allowing playgrounds to stay open during the stay-at-home order. So the original state order instructed counties to close playgrounds again. Well, county leaders say they reached out to the governor's office and pushed for this change. The new guidelines open playgrounds to families, but stipulate anyone over the age of 2 must wear a mask, and that people should limit their visit to half an hour if anyone else is around. Well, Pfizer's vaccine could be granted emergency use authorization in the U.S. as early as tomorrow, with the first doses made available by next week here in San Diego, and more expected to follow on a weekly or bi-weekly basis, according to experts we've talked to. ABC 10 News anchor Mary McKenzie explains how local pharmacies plan to handle the distribution once they eventually get the vaccine doses.
In the fight against COVID, the U.S. government will rely partly on pharmacies to administer vaccines to hundreds of millions of people, something with an unprecedented scale that presents a number of challenges. Today, 3 of the major pharmacies serving San Diego are giving us new insight into how they'll pull this off. CVS and Ralph's issuing statements, and Walgreens making an announcement today about a new app.
We're creating online apps, ways that we can actually have them sign up online. We can verify their eligibility and then schedule them times not only for their first shot, but also for the subsequent shot to ensure they have serious completion where it's necessary.
CVS sent ABC 10 News a statement reading in part, "We'll be ready to administer COVID-19 vaccines in long-term care facilities based on anticipated emergency use authorization for 1 or more vaccine candidates. When vaccines are available for wider distribution, we'll offer them at all of our CVS pharmacy locations, and we'll have the capacity to administer 20 to 25 million shots every month." Ralph's has also said that they'll partner with the California Department of Public Health to provide the vaccine, relying on their experience so far with large-scale COVID-19 testing operations, including at-home and drive-through services. They say they've conducted more than 250,000 tests since April. One challenge will be storage, particularly when it comes to the Pfizer vaccine, which requires ultra-cold freezers, but can survive for up to 5 days, according to the company, in regular freezers. It will also be a logistical challenge, making space to hold tens of thousands of vaccines and creating avenues for large-scale distribution, according to federal and local guidelines. Mary McKenzie, ABC 10 News.
Now, the Department of Defense just announced a plan to distribute the vaccine from 2 locations in San Diego, the Naval Medical Center and the Naval Hospital at Camp Pendleton. They will distribute an initial round of nearly 44,000 doses to uniformed service members, both active and reserves. The first phase will focus on those who are providing medical care, those deploying, and others who are considered at high risk. Other distribution sites include Fort Hood, Fort Bragg, and Walter Reed Medical Center. Now, the military and pharmacies aren't the only ones getting ready. San Diego County also preparing for the vaccine when it becomes available. The county is expected to receive more than 28,000 doses of Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine next week. A county clinical advisory group has been created. They're now tasked with figuring out distribution based on guidelines from the CDC and the state. Now, based on those guidelines, those at highest risk of complications or those at high risk of catching the virus will get the vaccine first. Meanwhile, the UK looking into potential allergic reactions to Pfizer's vaccine. 2 health workers reported strong allergic reactions after receiving the shot yesterday. Now, remember, they were among the thousands of people who received that shot yesterday. The 2 affected people are said to have a history of allergic reactions, but have since recovered from this. It's still not clear if the reactions were definitely because of the vaccine. Pfizer and the government there in England are looking into it. British health experts say such reactions to vaccines are not uncommon, but as a precaution, they're advising anyone with a history of severe allergic reactions not to take this vaccine for the time being. Yesterday, the FDA confirmed the Pfizer vaccine's efficacy and safety, and this morning, Canada became the second country to approve emergency use of the Pfizer vaccine. Later this morning, President-elect Biden expected to formally announce his nominee for Secretary of Defense. Now, Biden has already acknowledged his plans to tap retired Army General Lloyd Austin. Austin served 41 years in the military. He is the former head of U.S. Central Command and has served as the Vice Chief of Staff for the Army. He would become the first black man to head up the Pentagon. Austin retired in 2016, and Biden is asking Congress to waive a rule that prohibits recent military officers from being appointed defense secretary. Well, meanwhile, another election lawsuit submitted by the Trump campaign thrown out of court. Dozens more are still active. Even so, Republicans in Congress are holding off on some formalities, acknowledging Biden's win. ABC's Elizabeth Schulze has the latest.
In a swift one-sentence dismissal, the Supreme Court rebuking a last-ditch effort by President Trump's supporters to overturn the election results in Pennsylvania. The court rejecting a request by Republican Congressman Mike Kelly to throw out more than 2 million ballots in Pennsylvania with no dissents from the bench, including from the 3 justices appointed by President Trump. The decision coming just hours after the president repeated his unfounded claims of widespread fraud in the election.
Well, we're going to have to see who the next administration is, because we won in those swing states, and there was terrible things that went on.
In reality, of the more than 50 pro-Trump lawsuits challenging the 2020 election, 40 have been defeated in the nation's courts. President Trump's allies are still filing new challenges, with the latest coming from the Attorney General in Texas. But following Tuesday's safe harbor deadline for states to resolve their election-related disputes, the president's drawn-out legal quest to reverse the outcome appears to be coming to an end. Georgia's Republican lieutenant governor urging Republicans to face the facts. Biden won by more than 7 million votes nationwide.
We've got to make sure that we're not picking and choosing certain selective facts to support a narrative just because we want to flip an election. That's not democracy. That's not America.
Top Republicans in Congress still not heeding that advice.
Willing to acknowledge that Joe Biden is the president-elect.
This has become a weekly ritual. The Electoral College is going to meet on the 14th and cast a vote. And we're going to have a swearing in of the next president on the 20th of January.
Republicans on a congressional panel planning the inauguration are publicly refusing to sign on to language that would say the inauguration is for President-elect Biden and Vice President-elect Harris. But in a sign that they have privately accepted reality, the GOP members are still working with Biden's inaugural committee. Elizabeth Schulze, ABC News, Washington.
Thousands of SDG&E customers still without power this morning. It was shut off as a precaution during the windy conditions. Some communities still impacted include Otay Mesa, Dulzura, Descanso, and Ramona. The shutoffs designed to help prevent wildfires in the event strong winds knock down power lines. SDG&E says it is working to restore power to everyone affected, but they're warning that may not happen until tonight or even tomorrow morning. Several local organizations and groups of volunteers are working right now to bring some holiday cheer to military families in need. As part of our Positively San Diego Season of Hope series, ABC 10 News reporter Marie Cornell shows you the changes to this year's Operation Holiday Joy.
Operation Holiday Joy is an annual toy giveaway that caters to military families. This year's event may have looked different because of the pandemic, but organizers say the reason for the event remains the same.
It's just another way to thank our military members for their service here to our country, and really grateful to have them come through.
This year, the San Diego Armed Services YMCA picked hundreds of military families who needed a little extra help this holiday season. They handed out boxes of gift-wrapped toys to more than 1,000 kids, and in some cases, bikes were given. Families were also given books, a mini Christmas tree, and a gift card. Tim Nye, who is the executive director of the San Diego Armed Services YMCA, says now more than ever, it's important to support our military families, as they too must deal with the additional challenges brought on by the pandemic.
Spouse employment's 30%. It's really, really high. The online education is something that we offer here, and we're also doing something called the Achievement Academy, which is another pivot for us. And that's where we're taking the kids during the day. We're still doing the online portion, but we're helping them with STEM activities afterwards.
A little bit of extra help these military families are extremely thankful for.
We're so grateful and we're thankful and blessed that everyone so generous to give military families this support, especially this COVID, this pandemic hard time of the year. And so it's really big help for the kids and for the family too.
Marie Cornell, ABC 10 News.
All month long, ABC 10 News is capping off this tough year by highlighting stories in San Diego that can give us all hope and spread some cheer. If you have an idea for a story that you'd like to share with us, shed some light on our season of hope, please email us at tips@10news.com.